Hi there, welcome to episode 184 of the WaveBack Music Podcast. My name is Kris.
And I'm Matt.
And we're here to listen to the most interesting video game music there is. The world of indie games has expanded quite a bit in the past decade or two, and sometimes one of those games truly breaks through into the mainstream. Games like Cave Story, Hollow Knight, or Stardew Valley have become true classics, just like tonight's feature topic. What started as a Kickstarter project from a kid known for his Earthbound ROM hacks has become a tentpole in video game history, telling a memorable story with classic characters and, of course, an outstanding soundtrack. Get ready to go on a date with a skeleton, because tonight we listen to the music of Undertale. Well, hi there, Matt.
Hi there, Kris.
How the heck are you?
I'm not bad. How are you?
All things considered, not too shabby. I've had the same back injury since October, and I think I may have finally started figuring out how to properly make progress on making it not hurt every time I do anything.
Okay.
So, it's not so bad. Things are okay. Look, I work in the video game industry, man. I don't know if you know this about me.
Okay.
I work in the video game industry, and in the last week we had the official unveiling of the Nintendo Switch 2, which was kind of a poop show. It was very interesting, but all the information was extraordinarily haphazard and vague. And then the tariffs happened, and Nintendo canceled pre-orders in North America. And it's just been a real messy mess of a messy week. And I've had to chronicle a lot of it. And it's been tough. It's been rough, which is why we're recording this week instead of last week, because I knew there was no way last week was going to happen. It just wasn't possible. But here we are. I'm here. I'm in a chair. I'm in less pain than usual. Things seem to have settled to a degree. And well, this is what we're doing. We're going to sit here and we're going to talk about music from Undertale. How are you?
I cannot follow up that introduction. Like you said, all things considered, I'm pretty good. I can't really complain too much. Who would listen? And I don't really have much going on. Just trucking along, man.
You got a house, along. You don't have a. Do you have a very important bucket keeping your sink in check? Because I do. I have a very important bucket.
At this moment, I do not.
But the glory of home ownership dictates that you never know when someday you might.
My friend, you were not wrong. I do not look forward to that day. But, home ownership is home ownership, and if it's not one thing, it's another. So it's bound to happen.
And seriously, the good outweighs the bad. As far as I'm concerned, the good outweighs the bad. And
absolutely,
there are things you learn.
I absolutely love where we are. It's much more quiet. Our neighbors are very nice, and somehow or another, I move further away from my job, and it takes less time to get there. So.
Oh, New York.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I don't know what to say. So,
it's outstanding.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get ourselves started, Mr. Matt.
Yes, Mr. Kris.
Hit us with some history.
Undertale was released on PC on September 15, 2015, following a successful Kickstarter campaign. It was developed almost single-handedly by Toby Fox, who has gone on to have a very successful career making Deltarune, a series of companion games to Undertale, and even working on the Pokemon series for Nintendo. The game tells the story of a child named Chara who falls down into a well of strange monsters, some of who want to kill him, and others who, have other ideas. The game is known for its morality system, where your decisions affect the outcome of the story, and has become one of the most popular indie games of all time.
The game's soundtrack was also composed by Toby Fox, who I would like to personally thank for having an easy-to-pronounce name. He drew a lot of inspiration from Earthbound and has gone on to compose music for Little Town Hero, Escaped Chasm, and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Mr. Matt, what is your personal history with Undertale?
Unfortunately, I don't have any personal FaceTime with it. I'm very familiar with it. It is on my list to play. I had to double check just before we started recording the game because I didn't want to confuse it with something else. and I recognized immediately the skeleton, and I said, "Oh
Right.
yes, 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 yes. This is the game I thought it was." And yeah, I have yet to play it, which is a shame. I know it's a very beloved game. It's become such a cornerstone, apparently, of a lot of people's leanings and stuff. So it listen, it's on my list. And if you listen to the show at all, you know how long our lists are. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this one had also been on my list for a very, very long time. I only played this for the first time a couple of months ago.
Mhm.
Um, People have been telling me that I need to play this for years and years. And there was just something about it that kind of like, I don't know, maybe rubbed me the wrong way about its visuals.
Mhm.
I didn't really quite get it. But then I found myself with an extended period of time where I could tackle something like this. And I was like, you know what? This just made my list. I'm doing this. I'm gonna finally play Undertale after all these years, and it absolutely blew me away. It was I knew that people had talked a lot about its music and the way you play through it, and I decided to go straight for. Well, I didn't really decide straight away. So like the thing about Undertale is that it's got a couple of different ways you can play through the game. Like you can play it like you would a normal RPG and just it's a turn-based RPG, sort of. It's got a really weird gameplay hook actually. Um, so you can play it like a normal game where monsters attack you and you kill them and you move on. Um, or you can play it through what's known as the genocide run, where you kill absolutely everything in the game. But I had always heard that the true way to get the only way to get the true ending of the game is to do it pacifist run, which I found to be very interesting. And so I started playing through the game, and it really does want you to. It seems like the story seems to really want you to um, take the pacifist route. And I am generally a relatively pacifistic person, and I found that to be the most interesting way to play the game. Like every single creature that you run into, every boss, everyone, there is a way to get through without causing them any harm. And
Mm.
it's always very interesting to try to figure out that puzzle because like you can play it like a regular game where you just take, you do an attack, they do an attack, you block, you heal, et cetera, et cetera. Or you can keep doing these other options to try and figure out what they're saying, figure out why they're angry, or even figure out just how to make them happy, or just to convince them to go away. And there's a lot of, it's just a ton of really interesting ways to do that. And so I played through the whole game, uh, doing my best to do pacifist first, and then you actually, when you get to the end of the game, I don't want to spoil too much. I mean, I know the game's been out for 10 years, but um, when you get to the end of the game, when you're doing the before you get to the quote unquote final boss, you have an encounter with this character, Sans. There's two skeletons, Sans and Papyrus, and of course their text bubbles are written in Sans and Papyrus,
Ah.
just fantastic. Papyrus is definitely my favorite character in the game. Papyrus is amazing. Sans is also pretty popular. He wound up, making his way into Smash Brothers, uh, and
Oh wow.
yeah, he was a me costume, but he was a custom one that
Mm.
Sakurai made. Like he included a song from Undertale in the game and made like a custom me costume that looks like the character and not like a me dressed as the character. It was a whole thing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty big deal for a little indie title like this. But
Most definitely.
so
Yeah.
Sans basically judges you on what you've done throughout the course of the whole game. Like I forget what the actual terminology is, but like what you think are experience points are actually like murder points, and like that all counts against you. So however many experience
Ah.
points you have at the end of the game is like this is how much suffering you've caused, and so now that will be revisited on you, kind of a thing. So when I got to him, he was just like, "Oh wow, you're a real nice guy," and just let you go. And then you have to go and fight the final boss, where you actually have no choice but to fight him because the story of the game is about like, I don't really necessarily want to spoil the whole story of the game because it is really something special, but it's the message of the game, or at least the way that I came to understand the message of the game, is that um taking the pacifist route is uh it seems harder at first, but it is ultimately more rewarding.
Yeah.
And also, if you do choose violence, it will eventually become even harder. Like it just is a general message of life. Like, if you choose kindness, it may seem more difficult, but it will be more rewarding in the end. And I really loved that message, and I really loved the way it was delivered in the game. And by the time it was done, the game is really, really silly. Like, it's extraordinarily silly and amusingly written. But by the end of the game, it was just one of those experiences that really, like, when you play a game and you get to a certain point, like you're playing Super Metroid and the baby Metroid recognizes you after trying to kill you and then it gets sad and flies away, or you're playing through Portal and you do like some extraordinary thing that you never thought that you could even figure out how to mentally get there, or you're playing Celeste and you find yourself playing through your character having a panic attack and using like button presses to try to calm your character down. This was one of those experiences where you're like, this is a video game telling a story in a way that only a video game can, because any other medium that this would be told through would not have the same effect, because all other mediums are passive. This one is, I did these things. I am currently doing them. I am making the character do these things, and therefore I am a part of this story. And it was just an extraordinary experience that I really am looking forward to having again sometime.
I think that's one of the beautiful things about the indie game scene, is that a lot of the games kind of take the old tropes, or the what you think the game is. I'm the hero and I'm just gonna crush everything, and they do things where they turn it on its side and make it a new experience, and that's fantastic. And this sounds like no short of fantastic. So I think it's getting bumped up the list.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. It's not terribly long either, so it's that was also greatly appreciated. That it's not something that takes up a whole metric ton of time. But we've done enough jabbering.
Yes, sir.
Let's get to work here. Let's get started. So our first song, let's see. We opened up with the title screen, I think. Let's see, what was that? We opened up with a song called "Once Upon a Time." That's not the title screen. It's this really wonderful piece of music that's it's like, when you start the game up and it tells you the backstory. That's basically what that song is. But the first song we're going to listen to this evening is called Ruins. And now, I know it's only been a couple of months since I played this, but I have forgotten a lot of details because my mind is basically switched Swiss cheese these days. So, Ruins, if I remember correctly, is just the first area in the game, the first proper area that you get to walk around in. But either way, it's a good song. A little note about the playlist here. This game's got a ton of music in it, and almost all of it is fantastic. Obviously, I didn't really want to split this into multiple episodes, so the songs we're going to listen to tonight aren't necessarily the best of the best. I didn't go through saying these are legitimately the best songs written for this game. I just picked the ones that I remembered the most, the ones that stuck out to me that remind me most of this game. So there you have it. Anyway, without further ado, here's our first song, Ruins. Enjoy. Well, there you go. That was Ruins. How'd you feel about that?
It was so short. I wanted it to last like 10 minutes long.
Yeah, a lot of these aren't going to loop as many times as you'd want them to. So feel free, if you're editing this episode, I can't remember who's doing what, to just loop them as many times as you want. But yeah, these do the loops are going to be relatively short, unfortunately, for a lot of these. But it's a very pretty song. I do want to give you a heads up that this game's soundtrack is all over the map as far as instrumentation goes. There are going to be, like, this song sounded like, high quality instruments. There are going to be other songs that sound like chiptunes. This game soundtrack is kind of manic, and I mean that in a really good way.
Yeah, I was just looking to put the game on my wish list so I can get notified when it goes on sale, and then of course there's a ton of screenshots, and even the game's graphics are kind of like not the graphics, but like the sequences are all over the place. So that totally makes sense that the soundtrack's gonna kind of match that too. That was a really great piece of music. Very simple. It gives me like cave vibes and stuff. So if that's the part where you fall down the well, then it all makes sense. I always talk about like a good use of reverb and delay to give space. There's a nice feeling of like a cavernousness cavernousness to this piece of music. It's good. I really liked it.
I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
All right, so this next one here is called Enemy Approaching. This is kind of your standard battle music. So when you get into the turn-based battles, an enemy goes, run into you on the map. I think they're mostly invisible, so they're like random encounters. And this is the battle music. So enjoy. And that's where it would loop.
So for anyone who's been listening to the show, that Kris and I listen to the music fairly independent of each other. We try and play at the same time so that it ends at the same time. Kris, you managed to come right in as the song ends, like perfectly. We couldn't have synced that up better. It was wildly amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's really good music. That's very much like the original Final Fantasy series, like battle music, the nice like peppy kind of like serious we're fighting music. It's really, really good. Like to be kind of an homage to that stuff, whether it was intentional or not. They fantastic job.
Excellent. Yeah, I rather like that one too. It's obviously that one stuck with me because you hear it so often in the game. But it's a catchy tune. It's quite nice. Moving on to the next one. So again, I really don't want to spoil this game's story for anybody. This song's called Heartache, and it plays as during the first, I'm reluctant to say boss battle, but it is certainly it's one of the first major battles, and it is kind of your first major test as far as like how am I supposed to get out of this without attacking? Like it was the first real challenge of that. Like if you had made this decision to not be violent, and yeah, I don't know what else to say without ruining things. But yes, this song is called Heartache, and it is for a boss battle ish. So enjoy. Well, there you go. That was Heartache from Undertale. Very, very boss music, but also I think a bit more. Well, it was more video gamey to start. A little chip tuney, and then it gets a little bit more involved. I really like that one. Really like that song.
Yeah, you did mention that there was going to be some chiptune stuff. The instrumentation was like kind of all over the map. I swear to you, I didn't even notice that it was chiptune. That there were chiptune elements. Quite frankly, it all kind of blended together really, really well. In Wow, I'm upset now. I didn't notice it was chiptune. I mean, I can think back on it 10 seconds ago and hear it, but it actually felt a little seafaring, if that makes sense. Like I feel like you would have that perhaps on like the deck of a ship, a pirate battle, maybe.
Hmm.
I don't know.
That's interesting.
I'm
See,
not
that one
sure what it
always
is, why it is.
maybe it's because it is kind of in 3/4 time.
You're
That
right.
really that song in particular reminds me a lot of Magus's theme from Chrono Trigger because it's played at a similar cadence. But I think I can hear what you're talking about. I think I can smell what you're cooking. Well, in that case, we're gonna move on to our next track, which is Sans. This is the theme song that plays when Sans is around a lot of times. So there are these two brothers, these two skeleton brothers, Sans and Papyrus. Papyrus is extraordinarily enthusiastic. I don't really know how else to describe him. He's completely nuts. He's very enthusiastic about being one of the king's royal guard. And Sans is his brother, who is just like wearing a hoodie and is super chill, and a complete goofball. And you meet him a handful of times throughout the course of the game, and he's just standing there. He's a skeleton that wears pink slippers and a blue hoodie. He's just a pretty nice dude. So this is his theme. This is Sans. Enjoy. There you go. That was Sans' theme. How'd you like that one?
That's a very fat bass line. I feel that rumbling in my stomach. That was great.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
I like that Barry sax too. Merm, 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 merm. That was really good. It definitely gives me like I'm the chill brother vibes.
Well done. Yes. That is a very good one. The chill brother vibes. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, man. That's good stuff. That's I like that one. Brings me some joy.
I got to agree. I could listen to that on loop for like 8 or 10 minutes and just kind of just sit there and make the stank face and nod. Like, ooh, this is funky.
However,
can't pay for segues like that.
this was one of my favorite. This next song plays in a couple of places, but and both of them are wonderful. At least the two that I can remember off the top of my head are genuinely just wonderful, wonderful moments. But yeah. This is Dog Song. Enjoy. How'd that one grab you?
All right. Was it made in Mario Paint?
It does sound like the Mario Paint dog sound effect, doesn't it?
It really, really does.
I think it might have been. Who knows?
I mean,
Entirely possible.
Based solely on what I know of the game, which I can just about fit in a thimble, it's potential, I think. The other question is it just me, or are there a lot of familiar melodies in that piece? Because it was sounding to me like a couple of different songs from other games, which then I thought, well, that would make sense if it was actually made in Mario Paint, because it's old technology from a system, and then if they're paying homage, perhaps using the old, I don't know. I was taking wild leaps there. Anyway,
No,
there were
the game itself does have a lot of let's see, it repeats a lot of musical themes throughout, but I don't think this one has been in any of the songs we've listened to so far. But maybe I'm wrong. There's a lot of them that I didn't even notice.
What I mean is, were there familiar through lines from other franchises? They were just.
I don't believe so, or maybe it's similar.
Yeah, I'm not insinuating that anything was stolen. Please, I just say that first. But there were so many moments where I was like, "Well, that sounds like oh hell," and I couldn't put my finger on it, which is probably for the better, because it does the thing of being reminiscent without pointing a direct finger on, we're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's a win in my book. You got me thinking about well, I know that sounds wrong. You've got me thinking about other games, but I mean that with the most sincerest way I can, to say, like, great job. That was a long way for that. Sorry.
So there's a secret room that you can get into. And when you go into the secret room, there's an artifact on a table. And so I went to go pick up the artifact, and the game said, "You're carrying too many dogs." I was like, what? Because, if you try to pick up something in an RPG, your inventory is full. It says you're carrying too many items, but it specifically said you're carrying too many dogs. So I open up my inventory, and there is in my inventory an item called Annoying Dog. Okay. So
how'd that get there?
It wasn't there before you enter the room, but once you enter the room, Annoying Dog gets added to your inventory. So I drop the Annoying Dog to make it go away so that I have room to pick up this artifact, and this music starts playing. And the Annoying Dog goes over to the artifact, absorbs it, and then walks off the side of the screen.
Well, thanks.
I was just looking at like, what just happened?
What the hell?
What just happened? It's amazing. This is so freaking funny. Yeah, this game in general has this annoying dog. Just this Toby Fox in general has this recurring dog character thing that's just kind of throughout all these games, and it's really quite something. The other, you fight these like dog, giant, like big beefy dog guards. And this is the goofy song that's playing where you're fighting this super intimidating looking guard dogs, and of course the way you get out of fighting them is by giving them belly rubs. So naturally,
like one does,
right? They're dogs. They're so happy when you give them belly rubs.
Yeah.
I love this stupid game. It is so good. Anyways, so that was Dog Song. I love that song so much. That song cracks me up.
It's really silly. But just based solely on, again, what I know of the game, it seems very perfectly suited.
Yes, indeed it is, because one of the things that just makes this game such a magical experience is you've got this complete ridiculousness of Dog Song, coupled with honest to goodness, one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever had in a video game. Like, this game, it earns, it's these silly moments like that make the heavy stuff heavier.
Yeah.
That's how you earn that. And this game handles it all brilliantly. Anyhoosers, we're going to move on to Snowden Town. This is the music that plays in Snowden Town. So enjoy. Well, there you have it. That was Snowden Town. How'd that one grab you?
That one's very pretty. I mean, that's got all the earmarks, I think, of a snow level, a winter level. That was very well done. I like the kind of the twinkly piano a lot. That stands out and gives it kind of this great what's the word? It gives it like this nice warm shine. I don't know how to say what I'm feeling. That makes it sound like I'm not in touch with my feelings, but that's not
It is
true.
a peaceful, snowy town. It's really just really nails that specific feeling, that specific vibe. Kind of gives this is a very good example of this game's personality, of just the general sweetness, because the whole thing is like you're in this underground area, this whole underworld that's filled with what you would consider monsters. Like, there are no regular looking people. They're like fishes and ghosts and skeletons and what you would think of as monsters, but they're people. They're just going about their lives down here, but they're also trapped down there. So it's the whole thing has just got a really weird melancholy vibe to it to a certain degree. It's very, very cool. But moving right along, this next song is called Spear of Justice. This is one of the more memorable boss characters in the game, and one that involves, like, so after you doing the pacifist run, you have to fight this one character, but then after you do, they give you the opportunity to go back and change a couple of things. And this is a really interesting character. Her name is Undyne, and John, when I was playing through the game, he really thought she was super cool. She's like the leader of the King's Guard, and she's got a spear, and she's a fish lady, and she's really cool. And this, I believe, is the music that plays when you have to fight her, I think the first time, or maybe the second time, I can't remember. But either way, this is Spear of Justice, and it's a good song. Enjoy. Spear of Justice. How'd that one grab you?
That was fantastic.
Heck yeah.
I noticed the chiptune stuff there.
Haha.
No, that was really really great. That had like a great sense of grandiose. Like it
Hmm.
felt very big, very full. Like this fight was really important. Um, I I loved its pacing.
Hmm.
Really well done. Really really well done. So far, that might be yeah, it might be my favorite so far. And I know we've listened to quite a few already.
Right.
But that's a really great one.
This one, boy, oh boy, this is I did the pacifist run, but then my son John, he did the the non-pacifist run. He
All
didn't go
shall
full.
perish.
He didn't go full genocide. He just played the game like a normal person would just play it without consciously trying to not fight things. And boy, winning this fight that way, I watched him do that because he was really struggling with this boss because she's really hard.
Mhm.
Winning this fight really does not feel like winning, especially after I had been through the pacifist run and knowing the full story and everything. Like I was watching him do this and I was like, this is hard to watch. Like this is brutal. Like I don't want to spoil it because it's like
Yeah,
it's
right,
one of
right,
those
right.
things that's really really impactful. But geez, when he finished this, he was so proud of himself. And like I was proud of him too because he did it because it was really difficult and he had been
Yeah.
practicing and
Yeah,
trying and trying and trying. I was so proud of him, but at the same token, I'm like,
Listen,
jeez, this
listen,
is
kiddo.
brutal.
Oh man.
This is brutal. Okay, speaking of bosses, this next one here is this was John's favorite boss in the game. He loved this character so much. This is a robot named Metaton that was let's see, how do I explain this? It's a game show host. So like the battle is a trivia contest that you can't possibly win because the questions are insane.
Mhm.
So that's so this is a boss battle, but like since it's an RPG and it's menu based, it's trivia instead of battle commands. It's nuts.
Right.
But this song is called Metal Crusher, and this is a the one of the earlier Metaton encounters because Metaton comes back many times. This is Metal Crusher. Enjoy. That was Metal Crusher. How'd you like that one?
We have a very, very, very close runner-up for my favorite song of the night so far. That is fantastic. I love. There's something about that hard drivey,
Yeah.
sound.
It sounds
that,
like a printer trying to sing.
Yep. There's something about that sound that I absolutely love. And then when people, there's that that YouTube channel that does the music with all the printers and the hard drives and stuff. It really just tickles me. It tickles me to no end. And to start off a track with that and then go into this big sweeping chiptune piece is excellent. With a really, really great bounce.
Right.
Like I couldn't help but sit here and kind of like bop my head in a way that's like not like the metal head, like duh, 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 duh. This had a bounce, and I was like, "Ooh, okay, I dig this. This is I'd crank this in a car." I get weird looks, but I'd still crank it in a car. Musically. Had to put that out
Fantastic.
there.
Yeah, I also really, really like this one. I like it's super chiptune-y. I like that sound, just like you were saying. I agree with everything you said.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
Okay, so another medium. What song is this? Okay, if I remember correctly, this is the song for a laboratory that you're in. So this is an area, not a battle. And it's a good one. That's why I picked it. I also just want to say that again, this soundtrack is all over the place, so I tried to get a lot of different kinds of songs that this game has in it, but I really couldn't cover the entire gamut in a single episode, but I tried. Anyway, here's another medium from Undertale. Enjoy. That was another medium.
Mother of God, that was great. that is my number one right now. Wow, that was awesome.
It's such a good tune, isn't it?
Holy cow. There's no right being that good. How dare you, sir? How dare you?
How very dare you?
That was, again, another one with a really great bounce. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that at all. And I'm listening and I'm thinking like, oh, this is pretty good. And then it just kicks over and I was like, oh, what? Like it went from good to great. Like in a measure.
Yeah, I agree. It has that perfect, aside from the fact that just, being a marvelous piece of music on its own, it's also like really perfect for like a freaky science space lab, It's
right.
It's very science fiction-y, but it's so meticulously put together, right? It's just so, those little computery noises or whatever you want to call them, just they work just to make this wonderful melody. I love this piece.
I'm gonna, when the episode's over, I'm gonna listen to it again.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, that was in fact fantastic.
Let's see if we can keep this going. This next song here is actually one of the more famous bits from Undertale. This song was actually had a really killer remix put in Just Shapes and Beats as DLC. I'm sure you remember that one. That was a really fun episode with some killer music.
Absolutely.
So this one's called Spider Dance. It's when you fight this spider boss, and it's a really freaking good song. So let's crank it up. Enjoy. Man, I love that song. That was Spider Dance from Undertale. How'd that one grab you?
Jeez, man. That's another one that I didn't expect anything out of. Not to say I have low expectations, but that started out pretty good. I was like, oh, okay, this is cool, a little chiptune-y. I dig it, whatever. And then it just hit like, I don't know, it just hit overdrive, and it was like the old Max L commercials. Just I'm in a chair getting blown away. Like, whoa! It was really, really good. It had, what I loved about it was, I always find it interesting when chiptune music can be chaotic, because I think my mind still thinks of the 8-bit days and the 16-bit days when there weren't enough channels. And you get real creative, right? But when it's done in modern times, through the miracle of multi-track recording, you could do whatever the hell you want.
Right.
So my brain almost can't fathom that chiptune music can be this busy, this organized, this orchestrated, this big. And so when I hear stuff like that, I'm like, what? And it is, but in the best possible way. It's such a great song. I love, people that use the old chipboards to create new modern music. It's fantastic. And there's no shortage here, period.
Right. Yeah, it's this soundtrack in general does a wonderful job of meshing chip tunes into more modern game music, and it just brings me joy. Speaking of bringing me joy, this next song was this is another encounter with Metaton, and it's a rather unexpected transformation, let's say. And I'm going to leave it up to your imagination on what that transformation is, because again, I really don't want to spoil this game for folks who haven't played it before. So this song is called Death by Glamour. So enjoy. Talk to me, Matt. How'd that one grab you?
All right, look. You and I both wake up at 5 a.m. It's currently 10 p.m. You're going to need to warn me if you're going to go that hard this late in the show because I'm not ready. That was another track that I was like, this is good. This is really good. And then it found like its second gear. And I'm like, what? This thing goes from a 0 to 100 in like no time. Okay, first of all, that kick drum has no business being that good.
Right?
Like, it is so tight and yet so fat that I was like, who gave you the right to put some chip tune over that bass kick? What are you doing? And then I can't even get into the second part. The second part with I have to play this game now just for the soundtrack. Just for the soundtrack. I think when we finish, I'm gonna pay the full price, and because
I mean,
$15.
This was just on sale for like $2 on Steam like a couple of weeks ago. Like, don't look, pay full price. Obviously, this game is worth it, but this game has made its money back a bajillion times over by now. This game goes on sale, deep discount, quite a lot. So I don't know what the full price is these days, but
for Xbox it's $14.99.
Okay, yeah. I mean, this game's well worth $14.99.
Yeah, the soundtrack is worth $14.99. Like,
there's also no question in my mind that it will go on sale for uber cheap again. Sometime in the not too distant future. But yes, again, I don't want to spoil too much about this.
No, please don't.
About this fight.
I feel like I have an idea. I feel like I know what you're hinting at.
Even if you do, I promise you, I don't think you're ready for the visual. Like, even if you're 100% right, like, the visual of what's happening in front of you is quite special.
Great. Oh, that's fantastic. I love it. I love to hear that. That's so cool. Okay.
All right. Well, we're going to move on to, this is the original final boss. I didn't include the actual final boss, which is extraordinarily chaotic. It's a really interesting song, but I kind of flip-flopped on how long I wanted this episode to be, and so I wound up going with this one. This is you have to, if you're doing the pacifist run, you have to fight this guy. He's the king. His name is Asgore. He's an extraordinarily nice guy, which is what makes this so sad, right? It's like, he looks like this horrifying monster, but you're a kid and he recognizes that, like, he doesn't want to kill you, but he has to. Like, this is the only option. It's you or all of my people. Like, this is where we are. And like, he's got kind of a nice face, but he's also like, there's a mercy button, right? Like, there's attack, run, item, and mercy, I think, are what they are. Because eventually when you get to a certain point in a battle, you can choose the mercy button, and that's how you spare someone and get out of a battle without fighting them. And this battle starts, and he pulls out his trident and destroys the mercy button, cuts right through the menu and destroys your mercy button. And it's like, okay, well, this is where we are. I feel like this one goes pretty hard, so you've been warned.
Thank you.
Honestly, these last 3 tracks we're going to listen to are all just phenomenal in different ways. So here is Asgore. Enjoy. Asgore, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow. That is some of the most sweeping, epic boss music I've heard in a really, really long time.
Yeah, it gets the job done.
Oh, it put in overtime. Personally, that was magnificent. That's the only word I could think of. Was magnificent. That was great. Wow.
Banjo Guile does a great cover of that one too.
Of course he does.
He's got that one on his
Leave
channel.
some for the rest of us.
Hunt that one down.
Jesus.
It's quite great.
Too much talent. I hate. No, I don't. I'm joking. I love you, Ollie. Yeah, Mavs go listen to that. This was really, really good though. This was. I feel like if I wanted to create, video game music, this is what I'd want to create. Like this soundtrack, albeit kind of all over the place, like you said. I don't know. I can feel some level of cohesion to it in some weird way. Maybe maybe I'm I don't know. Maybe I'm chaotic enough like that to go like, yeah, that makes sense. But I listen to a lot of different types of music. I've depending on the day and stuff. But that was great. That was really, really good.
Yeah, I liked this song quite a bit, and it's really a testament to how much I like it, considering how many times I had to replay it, because I died on this guy a lot of times.
That's the other thing. You make an excellent point. We sometimes talk about how hard a game is, and you end up back at level 1 very quickly. You got you're like, oh, this music again. When something has a great replay ability to it, sonically, I think that's a big testament, because I think music can get repetitive, it can get obnoxious, and then when you're in your feelings, when you're like PO'd about something, you're like, oh no, and you hear the music start up again, kind of triggers you a bit. You're like, oh, this. I mean, I welcome the time that comes that I have to do this task, because the music's fantastic. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. But this one here, this next one here is without a doubt my favorite one. This is by far the longest song we'll be listening to tonight. It's about 6.5 minutes long.
Whoa.
This song is called Undertale. This song comes at this was like the moment when I was playing through this game where I like it, at the risk of sounding like a complete goober, this damn near drove me to tears. This was this plays during this extraordinarily beautiful moment in the game where, if you've, at least this is how I read it. I went through all of this work trying to I did this one slightly out of order just because I wanted to put a little, something between this track and the previous track and the next track. But it comes before the Asgore battle. It's on your way to the Asgore battle. And I just spent all these hours playing this game trying to figure out how to spare all these creatures. And I'm heading towards what I know to be this final battle with the king, who has to fight me. And as you're walking down this hallway, you keep having these encounters with these monsters that you've faced and spared throughout the course of the game. And they're telling you the story. They're telling you their world's history and why everything is the way that it is, and basically pleading their case to you, this kid who is marching to your death, basically, because you've chosen very specifically to not kill. It's an extremely touching moment, and it is underscored by one of the most beautiful pieces of music I've ever heard come out of a video game. I cannot say enough good things about this one. This song just gets me right in the heartstrings. This is Undertale. Enjoy. And that was Undertale by Toby Fox. What a ride.
Yeah.
Uh that that song, it just kills me. It just absolutely slays me. That acoustic guitar riff in the very beginning, and like just where it happens in the game, just this, when you know what's coming, and you know that you don't know if you're going to be able to find a way out of this one, and just the whole game just telling you the story of itself as you're heading towards this horrible thing that has to happen. It's just massive, and it's such a gorgeous piece of music. It's yeah, it's it just knocks my damn socks off. I just love it.
I mean, those chord progressions are inciting
Mm-hmm.
in that they incite those emotions. And I think if you hadn't told me what's happening, I would have probably felt the same emotions regardless.
Mm-hmm.
A testament to just how well it's written. Instrumentation's perfect. Sonically, it's wonderful. I mean, there's a great dynamic to it. It builds really, really well, and it hits these great peaks, and its peaks are only as good as its valleys. And when it's quiet and it's doing its thing, it's really doing its thing. That's really, really impressive. Um, yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's just it's two beautiful pieces of song, and I can't imagine um hearing it for the first time against the backdrop of what you're doing. I couldn't imagine experiencing that. Bright side is my memory is so bad that when I play this game in like 2-3 months, I will have forgotten. So I will actually get to experience it some way, shape, or form. But no,
Yeah,
that was fantastic.
it's marvelous. Which brings us to our last song.
Damn.
And it's easily the most well-known Undertale song there is. This is the song that got thrown in Smash Brothers. This song has been all over the internet. You may have even heard this song before. I don't know. I believe this song's history involves like it wasn't originally written for this game, and then Toby Fox added it to the game later. I really don't know the history of it. All I know is this song friggin' rules. If you don't do the pacifist run properly, when you get to that conversation with Sans at the end, you have to fight him. And when you fight him, which is an extraordinarily difficult battle, from what I come to understand, I still haven't actually done it because I can't bring myself to do the I can't bring myself to not do the pacifist run in this game. It's just I find it so much more interesting, and I don't like causing violence when I know I don't have to. But anyways, I've seen this boss battle several times. It's very difficult. This is a killer song. I couldn't end on anything other than this. So our last track for the evening is Megalovania. Crank up the volume and enjoy.
Come on, man.
That's it. That's all I got.
Come on, man.
This song's too good.
Really funny story. It'll only take a second. Today I was scrolling through Instagram and I came across 8-Bit Big Band. Familiar, right?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. They showed studio footage of them recording this song with Barry saxophones.
Oh, cool.
It is absolutely worth going over there and checking it out. Even though it's like a 10-15 second clip it's so worth it. So it's kind of ironic that came on, my For You page. Here I am listening to the original and being blown the hell away by it.
It's just spectacular.
It is, man, I keep that first place spot. Oh God. It's fighting hard. Wow. What a fantastic track. Just everything about it. Every single thing about it. And there's not like a wasted note in there. There's not a part that I'm like, oh, this is okay. The whole track from start to finish is like, what? What is this? Where has this been all my life? Or for the last 10 years? What a fantastic track. Jeez.
I love that this is the song that made it into Smash Brothers. I love that.
I think it's appropriate, honestly. I think it's great Smash Brothers fight music.
It's great fight music. This battle looks so friggin' intense, and like I just don't think I'll ever be able to bring myself to get to it because I just I'm too much of a sucker. I even in fictional situations when I have the option to be kind, I can't not do it. I always pick the nice things to say when I'm playing through games. I'm never a dick. I just can't do it.
And it's funny when a game comes across my desk, so to speak, where you can choose to be like villainous. I'm like, this is it. And the very first question, I'm always like the nicest, politest answer. I'm like, which one is the one that that's the one? That's what I would say in real life. That's what I'll say in the game. And then as soon as I hit the button, I go, oh, I was supposed to be a bad guy this time. Oh, I just can't do it either. I don't know what that says about us, but here we are.
Well, that pretty much wraps things up for us and Undertale this evening. Go play this game, listen to its entire soundtrack, because this is a smattering of some of my favorite tracks in the game. But there's much more. There's much more.
Is that accurate? Because Megalovania, the number before it says 100. Is there really at least 100 tracks?
Oh, I don't think so.
Okay.
Well, like, all right, so the vinyl soundtrack on Fangamer.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I think this is the full thing. There's a whole Undertale collection on Fangamer, which is pretty neat. The vinyl soundtrack, complete vinyl soundtrack, is
oh my goodness,
$84, and it is 109 tracks.
Yeah, I just looked it up on Spotify, and Spotify's showing a list at 101. Impressive. I wonder what's missing, but I digress.
Yeah, I think different versions of this soundtrack have had various songs missing from it over the years. I think this one's supposed to be it's listed as the complete one, curated by Toby Fox, from Once Upon a Time all the way to Dog Dating.
What?
I've flirted with the idea of dropping the money on this once or twice. Just I don't see myself listening to the whole thing top to bottom
more than once
or twice. It's $84. Like that's a lot of money to spend.
Yeah,
but I mean, so when I finished this game, I went to Fangamer and I bought the physical copy of the game and a couple of the figurines that are about the size wise they match up with amiibo figures pretty well. So I bought Sans and Papyrus. But I keep eyeing up this soundtrack and the beautiful artwork that's all over this thing. Like, I don't know, man, it's $84 freaking dollars, but at the same time, it's really cool.
That's that thing where it's like, I will never tell you I'm rich, but there'll be signs.
Yeah, I mean, if I find myself in a position where I have 84 spare dollars,
Yeah.
you know, there are dumber things I could spend my money on
And have personally.
yeah,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
But this is on my list of things that I would like to own, but not quite enough to drop the full $85 on.
Nah, laundry list of things like that.
my video game vinyl budget is currently going towards this Facebook group that I'm in that's producing these super wonderful Super Mario Brothers soundtracks. They've done Mario 3, Mario World, and Yoshi's Island. Next up is a combo of Super Mario Brothers 2 on one side and Doki Doki Panic on the other.
Oh, wow.
Their presentation is largely wonderful. There are a few things that are, I guess you could say, slightly unprofessional about them. I don't mind. Like the Super Mario Brothers 3 one, the brothers, like the BROS in the name is wrong. It's they took one and moved it to the left to try to make it look like the original release Left Brothers, but the actual writing of the word, the abbreviation BROS, was written differently on that version. So it's like, well, that's just slightly off, and that's going to irk me a little bit. But the records sound fantastic,
right?
And that's really the most important thing. So that's pretty much where my budget's going right now. They got a couple left. They're doing Mario 2 is next. Then after that, they're doing a double of Mario Land and Mario Land 2. And then I think they're doing Super Mario Kart. And then they're doing this like Super Mario Brothers 1 that also includes like Dr. Mario and a couple other like weird offshoots, because the Super Mario 1 soundtrack is so tiny. So
yeah.
But that's where my budget's going right now. This just makes me itch. Anyways, I'm glad you liked this.
I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
I had a lot of fun. I'm glad we did this, even though it's 10:30. I'm gonna be tired as shit tomorrow. I don't care.
You and me both, my friend.
We usually keep this show clean, and here I am cursing like a sailor.
Should I edit that out?
Yeah, you can edit it, bleep it, whatever.
I'll find something fun.
You'll do it. Anyways, Matt's that's our show. So Matt, what's our next game gonna be?
You know, when I don't have one on deck, I just look at the old spreadsheet and I think, what would Kris do? And then I say, I'm going to do something different. But somehow I landed on something Kris would do. So we're going to do Wizards and Warriors.
It's almost like I wrote the damn list.
It's kind of crazy how that works out. Someone help me. I'm just kidding.
Oh, Wizards and Warriors. We've done Iron Sword, Wizards and Warriors twice now. And that's the only Wizards and Warriors game we've done. And 1 and 3 both also have excellent soundtracks. But 1, oh man, that's the original Wizards and Warriors is a classic.
Classic.
A true classic. It is the first third-party NES game not developed by a Japanese company, I believe.
There you go.
Wondrous game. Hey, great pick. Very excited.
Me too.
And with that, we here at the WaveBack podcast are incredibly grateful to everyone who listens, and we love communicating with you when we can. We have a couple of ways you can do that. There's the Geekade Discord channel, in which we have a WaveBack chat where we frequently discuss all manner of stuff relating to video game music and whatever our next episodes are going to be. Of course, you can still send us an email at mail@geekade.com, and while you're at it, check out all our social media channels, which you should totally follow, like, and subscribe to if you haven't already. Not that we ever do anything with them, so maybe I should just change that script at this point. We technically have social media accounts. We just don't really do much with them. Anyway, WaveBack, another Geekade podcast are made possible thanks to the Geekade Patreon page. There, patrons can get access to a monthly podcast topic and recording schedule, get early access to most of Geekade's shows, including this one, and more. If you've enjoyed our podcasts over the years, follow the link in the description and give it a look. We really appreciate it. And finally, as always, be sure to check out all the other great content we have on our site over at geekade.com. We will be leaving you with this game's ending theme. It's called Bring It In, guys. It's
such a great name.
Yes, it is. It was unfortunate that I didn't wind up picking, and again, it was just because I was picking the songs that stuck out to me the most, but there are a handful of tracks in this game that just have wonderful track names. Like, can you really call this a hotel? I didn't receive a mint on my pillow or anything. Is the name of the song. Just chef kiss. Marvelous. So anyways, this is the ending music. Bring it in, guys. Thanks for spending some time with us. I hope you enjoyed it and play some Undertale and Deltarune, which is an anagram for Undertale.
Holy cow.
I got to play that game. There's 4 chapters. The third and fourth are coming out the same day as Switch 2. It's on my list. I mean, the main character of the game is Kris, Kris. Like,
whoa.
What are the odds? So definitely got to give that a shot. But anyways, thanks for listening, everybody, and good night.
got such a paragraph. You got like a sentence. No. Wait a
Well, see,
second.
unfortunately, the game was
I
developed
know.
and the music was composed by the same guy. So, like, there really wasn't much else for me to cover.
No, I'm being dumb. All right. I'm intentionally creating outtakes. Undertale was released on PC on September 15th, 2015.